Also, I thought Onion Knight Davos, right?
Yeah.
He is my surrogate Ned Stark. He is Ned Stark if Ned Stark was a rogue.
He's
right?
one of my favorite characters in the whole series. I love him.
Yeah, I mean, he
was so
goes through
glad he came
so
back.
much. But yeah, like and again, great, like people don't really talk about makeup all that much, but just like his kind of like sunburnt face, like peeling on the rock. What a great, beautiful scene. That's what stood out the most. Him on that little crag.
And they actually didn't highlight it in the show, but for viewers at home, if you notice, his fingers got cut off by Stannis, and he keeps that in a little pouch as a lesson to learn that, like, okay, that hurt and that was bad, but that's why Stannis will be a good king, because he taught me a lesson. I'll never forget it. And so he wears that around his neck, and then he loses it in the battle. So when you see him on the island, I thought he was going to kind of like grasp for it.
I wanted him to go more
they didn't.
for it.
I think that was something.
But that was a nice scene
well, if you read the books and if you're paying attention, you notice that that's gone.
Well, he tries to cover the sun with his hand, and it's like, and you see, it's like, oh, this doesn't work.
Another big change that I actually really like so far is, I guess, Lady Marjorie, her character and kind of what she's doing. I feel like in the book she always played as this kind of background character, and she is much more cunning and is definitely going to go head-to-head with Cersei, I feel like.
Well, there's
A
no
little
point of
bit.
view
Side of
chapter for her.
politics, right? Instead
Right.
of the war and the swords and the armies, right?
Yeah.
She's the diplomacy and the wheeling and dealing.
It's just like she's always in the side, and you're right. I mean, she doesn't have a point of view, so it's a little bit harder, but they're just really pushing her, and I love it, because...
And you hate Joffrey.
Dude, but Joffrey, let's talk about
He's
Joffrey
the
for a second.
worst.
He wasn't a complete dick in this episode.
Other than the fact that he's like, don't let her go out there. They might rape her. And then he's just like, but I'm not going to get in. They're like,
And he's like, Mother, Flea Bottom's not so dangerous, Mother.
I know, but he defended her, and on top of it, I thought that he would get off the cart and like slap her or something. Like,
no, because he's terrified.
He's terrified.
He has no, like, he can't get out and slap her because he has no balls. Yeah. And what little balls he does have, he definitely wants to use them on Marjorie, so he's kissing her ass and throwing his mom under the cart there. And
it's a complete reversal from
so
the Sansa
good,
stuff. Yeah.
That's actually one thing that I got in a big fight, because my wife read the first book, and then she was like into the third one by the time the first season was over. And when Ned, lost his head, I almost like gave up on the whole thing, because I'm like, I don't know who to root for. She's like, well, she's like, nobody's really in the lead. I'm like, clearly the Lannisters are winning. Clearly, come on, like, let's not mince words here. Like, they are in the lead. All the Starks are scattered, confused, tired, hungry. But like one thing I had problem reconciling was Tywin's kind of like, oh, whatever, Joffrey, whatever. And it's like, clearly your grandson is a monster. Like, clearly he is. You claim to really love the kingdom and want to do great things, and like he's ripping the kingdom a new one, and you're just like, la da da, whatever.
I mean, I think that's part of Tywin's character flaw, right? Whatever he believes is the most right. Like, obviously, out of his 3 children, the best one to run Casterly Rock would be Tyrion. Mm-hmm. And he will, as the scene says, he'll never let that happen. Like, his smartest, his most honorable child is Tyrion, in terms of like, where honor is set in that universe.
Well, he kind of, I mean, at least in the show, there's this scene that's not in the books that Tywin is talking to Jaime in season 1, and you kind of see he goes down hard on Jaime too. Like, you threw all your skills away to become like the king's guard for some drunk, and he, I don't know, he's never talked to Cersei about it, but he does mention Tyrion that, I'm sending you to King's Landing to keep an eye on your sister, because he also knows that she's not good enough. Right. So I think Tywin knows that Tyrion is the most cunning. Like, he respects that, just as he respected Arya when he thought, like, he saw his witty child. But yeah, he's just ashamed of him, like, because, he looks like a little creature to him, and having that's how he sees him. He doesn't see him as son. He sees him as like someone who killed his wife.
He's slightly schizophrenic with that, right? Like, it's like, I need to be over here fighting this war. Tyrion, you do this, but now that he's at King's Landing, he's like, nope.
Can I throw in some crazy major book spoilers at this point?
We are entering the spoiler zone.
Can we enter the spoiler zone?
Can we do
spoiler zone?
A graphic that comes on
I
screen?
don't know, Marco, can you?
Yeah. Can there be like a dragon that like flies across and he spells out spoiler and like fire?
Well, I think if we are in the spoiler zone, I just want to point out that
Spoiler zone. Last warning.
that even saying Littlefinger is in book 5 is a spoiler. Because now you're saying, well, he lives until book 5. So
Well, I'm just saying we still don't know his motivation in book 5.
As a ghost.
You just confirmed. We still don't know Ned's motivation for certain things that he's done.
Okay, can I say a troll?
Say your troll.
I trolled Damiani that he hasn't read the books.
Yeah.
And I trolled him that when the White Walkers start going south, they're gonna resurrect Ned into a White Walker, and he's gonna lead the war. I think he believed it.
Well, I mean, people have to remember this real quick. The show, the book series is called what? Fire and Ice, the Song of Fire and Ice. So it's always going to be about the White Walkers and the dragons, as much as the politics kind of, I don't know, distract from that.
well, in Winterfell versus, the Lannisters, but the Lannisters are lions, or I don't know.
I think the story Gurm wanted to tell was that, like the zombies and dragons and all that. And I think the family feudal stuff was kind of a side story that became more popular than.
Well, that's what happened with Robert Jordan, those books, right? I mean, he's already added books to this series. You get caught in the minutia, right? And hopefully he'll live to finish
Well,
the
he
series.
got way too caught up in the minutia of like past that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
Oh,
know.
but what was the spoiler thing you want to say?
Possible major spoiler is there. I literally got chills in that scene with Tywin and Tyrion when he's like, "I'll never recognize you as my heir, or my rightful son." I think is what he says. And book spoilers, theory, rumors is that Tyrion isn't actually a Lannister. There's one of the major theories with him. At least in the books, he has 2 different colored eyes. One is purple, one is, I believe, green. In the books, the Targaryens have purple eyes. There's a theory that the Mad King Aerys raped his mother, and that's how Tyrion was born, and that's why he would never ascend to the throne of Castle Rock, and therefore he will be one of the 3 dragon riders because he's actually a Targaryen. Crazy book spoilers that possibly aren't even true, but
Well, he also
there are some good
He's
theories.
also completely fascinated with dragons. So
He's
you have
also
that,
right,
you know,
and there's like I don't know how much we could go way into that later.
Well, let's
That's like some crazy
There's
theories.
some crazy shit.
let's leave the spoiler zone. We gotta kind of wrap up, but let's talk about Dany and the dragons and her scenes. The dragon looked cool. I mean, the CG.
The dragon.
Yeah, I
is
mean, we
the
know
problem.
their CG budgets spread thin.
But he charred his fish before he ate it. It's a little details.
I,
They're
I like how they're
appreciated.
showing the height. I mean, there was some weird comedy there. I mean, the Dothraki puking their guts out.
But that's all in the book. I mean, they go into every time you hear about them on a ship, they're throwing.
We got
out,
some nipple slicing. We got enough.
That's one of those things where, like, in the book, I think it was maybe a little more effective. Like, sometimes there's things that you read and they work, and nothing you can do can make it okay.
There was like then the
I
whole
didn't think
thing.
it was bad.
Yeah,
but I
the
thought it was
thing,
a little...
the baby killing thing was a little. Like,
Well, but where was the puppy killing?
Oh, the book was way better. So yeah. In the books, they give him a puppy and
Puppy
they have
or
him
baby
raise it, and
killing.
then they kill the puppy.
I mean, that's totally an
way
American
worse
thing,
than
right?
Killing some baby you've never. I mean, not that killing babies is like whatever, but
If they had to raise the baby like a 7-year-old kid.
well, it's also like it's an interesting theory, right? Because like in the show, it's like you're going and you're killing a slave baby that. At that point, it's just a slave. It's an item, like it's a good. So you have no interaction with it. You don't have any care about it. In the book, the Unsullied are given puppies when they're like 5, and they have to raise them. And then when their final test is to kill them, and you're like, it's like terrifying to read. I think you're like, yeah, they go out and they kill someone else's property, and you're like, well, I get that they're babies. Maybe it's just.
Jeremy has
Maybe
many
it's
dogs.
an American thing.
No, I think that was
like,
honestly, this is a side conversation, but I think that was a choice they made on purpose.
Another thing that made the Unsullied like a little more badass was that in the book, they are fed part of their diet is something that makes them feel no pain, is it? And they don't say that in the show when they're cutting that guy's nipple.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I assume he's feeling that
Yeah.
when that's happening.
What's the Kingsguard guy who shows up at the end?
Sell me.
Sell me. That was a little comical, just the way he was dressed and like
a Jedi.
Obi-Wan.
and his little dagger and like how did he know that warlock gift was bad? I mean, it was a little TV magic right there.
In the book, it's the same way, where he's like, why is he following them, and how does he know that the gift she gets is...
The scene serves itself more than it serves, I think, the fiction. That's like a little Deus Ex Machina right there.
More important than him being there is who wasn't with him, and Strong Boas, who is like this amazing
Eating onions.
character that
Yeah, like 6'6", super fat, like only wears like a little tiny vest just around his arms, and just
Lets
like
every-
giant
lets everyone
boobs,
cut
giant
him,
gut, like,
right?
strong Belwas.
he has so many scars on his body because everyone he fights, he lets cut him once before he kills him, and you're like,
But it's kind of like Jojen. You know, like we're gonna meet him. We're like he'll probably show up later.
No,
you know,
he
but
has to
like
show up
he's
later.
not. Gonna,
Jojen and Amira will have to show up.
But
They
I
do.
was kind of bummed that. And actually, when I read this in the book, I was like, oh, how do they do this in the show? But like in the books, you don't find out that that's all the names are flying, you know, around my head right now. But the guy that shows up to
Sir Barristan
protect
Bold.
Daenerys, yeah, Sir Barristan. You don't find out that that's Barristan until about halfway through the book. But I'm like, that's not going to work on the show because you're going to recognize him.
Well,
right
you also
away.
get him in. That happens in book 2, right? He appears in book 2 and then travels with her for a while, and then the reveal is in book 3. So they're kind of
That
they're
scene
kinda
where they meet, it
dovetailing.
happens in Karth.
Right, it happens really early.
And the boat that Dany sails on from Karth to Astapor is
It's the
actually
one he
Illyrio's.
brings, right?
Yeah, Illyrio contracts Barristan and Strong Belwas to find Dany, and they find her in Karth, and then they give her his boat, and then she goes to Astapor.
So I'm gonna kind of start wrapping this up. Overall, were you guys happy with the first episode?
Yes.
I know, stupid question, but you know, I remember people were saying, you know, it was going to be too slow. I don't think it was. We did miss that first scene. It was nice to see the wolves and stuff, or ghosts.
And
right?
like,
But-
you know, there's a couple characters that I can't wait to see, and
And
I
we-
know
they're
we'll
gonna
get
be in
them in
the
the
next
second. I
episode.
know we'll get them in the second episode, and even like, you know, Arya, can't wait. How's the lemon cake?
Well, now I understand why this is so much in book 5. That's all they do is talk about lemon cakes, so they're good.
if you guys liked this, leave comments below. Maybe we'll do it again. Jones said his wonderful wife can come on.
Yeah,
and
who's
she's read the books 4 times.
way more knowledgeable than me. She's always pointing stuff out at the end of books. I'm like, really? That happened? She's like, "Pff, read the book.
She'd be a better fit maybe than me, who's forgotten almost everything. But
Yeah, if you guys have segment ideas or things you want us to talk about,
maps.
or we've got maps, or random things from the book that you'd like me to bake, let me know. Yeah,
the menu.
yeah, we can post it.
Look at that.
Yeah, scan that puppy.
Yeah, there's a full menu.
I could barely even read it just holding it up to my face. But
Well, thank you guys. And just for closing, can you guys help join me in singing "The Bear and the Maiden Fair"?
I don't even know the lyrics.
The bear. No, I'm joking.
Okay, that's it.
Miguel's thing.
Cut.
thanks, guys.